Alright, welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk a little bit about style, but first we're going to go have some fun. Just got some new goodies. Let's see what it is. Okay, cool. I'm excited about this. I've been waiting for this package for a little while, so let's get this open, shall we? Okay, so this is from Anson, and they are sponsoring today's video. Part of the deal of their sponsoring the channel is that periodically they will send out new packages of stuff for me to check out and try out. And it's usually related to what their best value is, and that is you can buy 3 belts or 2 buckles, or 2 belts or 3 buckles, so basically just swap them out, and then you can get these as good deals together. And honestly, you guys know that for the most part when I'm wearing suiting or when I'm wearing really like formal and refined stuff, I'm not a belt guy, but whenever I am wearing a belt like today, then it's an Anson belt, and there's just a lot of benefits to this. The big one for me, well, let me show you actually with this package that just came in. Okay, so let me show you what makes these good. First thing is the quality of the materials that they use. I really like the leather. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, it's just got a good feel to it. And then with other ones like with canvas or nylon or other materials, then these work really well. I especially like these canvas belts for when I'm out camping or hiking or doing stuff that is a little bit more kind of outdoorsy, just because then I don't have to worry. It dries quicker, I don't have to worry about it ruining leather or anything else like that. Okay, so what makes these good is that they've got these little micro notches. See if we can get that focus, boom. Okay, what makes these good is these replace your traditional like belt hole, and so rather than having a hole every inch or half an inch or so, you've got these little micro blades, and then these make it so that you have a whole lot of variability as far as, is that too loose? There you go. Is that too tight? Or is that too loose? There you go, a little better. A little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. Oh, I went a little bit too tight. And we'll just open it back up a little bit, and there we go. So this is really good for guys who have, you don't fit within like between different sizes. And then it's also really good if you're someone like me, who I will find that like at the start of the day, my clothes fit differently than they do in the middle of the day or at the end of the day. And so I can use this to micro adjust where my belts need to go. So for example, like with this one, I can just like tweak it a little bit, go a little bit tighter than what it was, and now my pants actually stay where I want them to. So I've got a link for you down below. Go check these guys out. Awesome stuff, and thank you, Anson, for sponsoring today's video. So we are up at a ski resort called Snowbird. My parents have done a timeshare up here every year since I was like first starting high school, and it's honestly one of the best parts of the summer. So check out this view of where we are. And we spend most of our time right there down at the pool, but we also get some good hiking done and stuff like that. We always love it when we're up here. In fact, check this out. Hey, what are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Huh, mister? What are you doing over there? Huh? Okay, so let's talk about last week's question, which was how important is style in things beyond just your clothing? And I said we'd talk a little bit about like your house and your car and stuff like that, and I think in one of those regards it's really obvious. And what's fun is you saw at the beginning of this video that we were playing around at that Ninja Warrior gym, and yes, I was able to get from point A to point B in almost every single obstacle, but no, it did not look good at all, at all. My style was ugh. And you could even see my other brothers who have done this more often, they made it look more effortless. And I think one of the reasons that style in almost everything is so important is when it comes back to this idea of the 4 tactical virtues, and one of those being mastery. Because if you have more mastery in your ability to do something, then it looks more effortless. And like we've talked about, you've got that effortless mastery. And there's something about watching the way that people do things and how easy it looks. For example, you watch somebody who is an athlete like in the Olympics or at the X Games or at something else that you can tell that it requires an insane amount of skill and talent to be able to do something, and they make it look so easy that you just wonder, well, why can't I do that? And the reason that they make it look so easy and so stylish is because they've got that mastery that's in there. And so I am of the opinion that everything that you do is enhanced when you do it stylishly. Now, there's another element that comes into this that I think is really key, and again, the really good coincidences kind of came up this week. And I'm gonna open up with you guys. I'm gonna share a little kind of a personal thing with you. I was talking with one of my brothers who's very successful. He's a very good salesman, and we were talking about some of my sales approach with my new coaching and with this live event that I've got coming up and all these other things. And we were talking about kind of the best way to find the right clients. Anyway, he said that if he could give me some unsolicited advice about the way that I do my channel, he said that I've got a huge advantage in that I know my stuff and I present my content very well, which I appreciate, and I know that you guys are here because you believe that. And I'm able to take difficult concepts and present them in a way that makes them easier to understand, and I'm also good at being able to take seemingly unrelated data sets and find what the underlying pattern is and then create a principle and then teach that principle so that you can get the same results. I know that those are 2 of my strengths. But what he told me, and what is absolutely true, is that my biggest weakness is that I don't have a whole lot of personality that comes out of my videos. You guys don't get to see how, I mean, I'm not super funny, but I'm funnier than I am when I'm on my videos. You don't get to see necessarily a ton of energy or a ton of any other of these things, especially when I'm filming in the office and it's just very strictly like teaching and going with that approach. And he said that one of the best things that I could do to grow my channel is to continue to teach and to, you know, maximize on those strengths, but also to just show more personality in what I'm doing. And ultimately what that comes down to is style. My style of, not my clothing, but my style of who I am as a person. My personality is something that makes it so that you guys would want to watch more of my videos, maybe subscribe if you're not. It would make it so that you would want to work with me as a coach or come out to a live event, because the information is only part of the program, but the style, the personality, those other things are part of it too. One of you guys brought up the point in your comments from the last video about how the way that we say things, or just your lifestyle, your persona, that is crucial. And the more that I recognize that, the more I realize how true that is. And that's one of the reasons why having a personal sense of style as opposed to just wearing the same uniform that everybody else tells you you're supposed to wear is so crucial, because it's showing what your personality is, and then it's being able to demonstrate your own worth and your own individuality to the rest of the world around you. And so I challenge you guys to figure out how to do that through your clothing. How do you take the core component of who you are and then use that to tell a story that makes it so that your personality actually comes through in your clothes? And some of that comes from the different tribes that you belong to. Some of that comes from the right ratio of the 3 different archetypes. But a lot of it comes down to just your own personal taste and what it is that makes you you, and how do you tell that through your style. Because if you can do that, if you can alter your own personal brand that you present to the rest of the world through your clothing, through the way that you speak, through your sense of humor, through these other things that make you interesting, that give you a personality, then that's when even more success comes. And yes, your clothing is part of that, but your style of doing anything else, the way in which you do something, matters. And if you can do it well, if you can do it in a way that's authentic to who you are, and it's appealing to your audience that's watching you doing it, or that's there with you as you're doing it, then that's when success can continue to double up and build up even further. So I'm very curious to hear how you guys are going to build upon that concept. I'm pretty energized about that. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm pretty excited to find more ways that I can give you guys a taste of who I am and what my personality is as a way to improve my own style when it comes to these videos. Okay, now going into next week, my question for you is, I've been thinking a lot about pedanticism, which is the idea of you are showing off your intelligence as a way to show off that you're intelligent. I think for a lot of guys, even just using the word pedantic is pedanticism, but anyway. Okay, but think about it, language. Language is one of those things where you want to use big words as a way to make having a conversation easier, smoother, and more accurate. Whereas somebody who's pedantic wants to use big words not for that purpose, but as a way to show off how smart they are, as a way to make you feel dumb, as a way to kind of separate and distinguish themselves as I'm better than you. So my question for you is there such a thing as aesthetic pedanticism? Do you think that it's possible, and if so, do you see examples of it, and how does this work for you, for men particularly to be able to use their clothing not as a way to facilitate conversation or facilitate communication, but as a way to separate themselves from other people as better or you're worse or something else? And then is it pedanticism because, or I guess, is it right or wrong to do that? Or is it not necessarily right or wrong, is it amoral, and it just depends on what your goals are? So let's talk about that in the next video, and I will see you guys then.